Hi guys, I hope you guys are doing good today. We are going to be doing our Bible lesson for 27.3, Abraham, God tests Abraham. So if you want to go ahead and get your workbook, I will be going over the workbook page toward the end of the video, and that's 27.3. All right, so we've talked a lot about Abraham's journey with God. We talked about how uh, Abram was loyal to God. He believed God. He did what God told him to do. And so God made a covenant with him where he would bless him with a lot of land and many descendants, and that he would even give to him and his wife a son that would be born to them, even though they were older than someone should be to have a child. Okay, so there's been and God said that he would also pass down the covenant that he has with Abram to his descendants. And he changed Abram's name to Abraham and Sarai's name to Sarah. All right, so their loyalty so far has given them favor with God. They have been able to show God that they will listen, they will follow what he asks them to do. Okay, so today's lesson, we're talking about how God tests Abraham, though. Okay, so far he's done well. He's shown that he believes in God, and we will see what is going to happen here. Okay, so I'm going to read to you from Genesis 21. I'm going to read 1 through 3 and then 5 through 7. And the Lord visited Sarah, and he had said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which God had spoken to him. Okay, so within the year, she had a baby. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac. And all right. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. And Sarah said, God hath made me to laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me. And he said, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have given children? For I have borne him a son in his old age. Okay, so that's saying, sure enough, here's a baby. His name, we're going to name him Isaac. You um, are saying that, God made them laugh about it, that it was something that they almost couldn't imagine, that they almost didn't fully believe that God was going to do. Okay. So, what does the name Isaac mean? Do you guys remember from when we talked about names before? Isaac means laughter. Okay. Um, all right. All right. So now I'm going to read to you, still in Genesis. Now we're 22, 1 through 8. And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, behold, here I am. All right, so this is where God is going to test Abraham. All right. And he said, take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. Okay, so God has just told Abraham that he needs to take his son, who he loves, his only son, to a mountain and offer him as a sacrifice. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his horse and took two of his young men with him and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went unto the place for which God had told him. Okay, so that just means that he took Isaac and two men to help him, and they went up to the mountain where God told him to take Isaac. Then on the third day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the horse, and I and the lad will go and worship and come again to you. Okay, so he said, okay, you guys stay here. Me and my son are going to go up and we're going to worship. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac spake to Abraham his father and said, My father. And he said, Here am I, my son. And he said, Behold, the fire and the wood. But where is the lamb for a burnt offering? Okay, so Isaac is asking his father, We have all the things to burn an offering, but we have no lamb. What is to be the offering? And Abram said, My son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went, both of them together. Abraham's answer is that God will provide the lamb. Okay? And they kept on. All right, so what did God ask Abraham to do to prove that he loved and trusted God? He asked him to sacrifice his only son. Okay? Okay? Sacrifice is something that is very special to you that you give to God for his glory. So it has to be something special to you for it to be a proper sacrifice. You hear a lot about that when people talk about Lent, if you've heard that around Easter time, where they give something up. Okay. And a lot of times, it'll be things like uh, coffee or chocolate or something that you like a lot or that you use a lot. Some people might give up screen time, things like that. Maybe say they're not going to play a certain game that they love, something, because while you're going without that, you fill that space with the Lord. Okay, so a sacrifice is an important thing that but you have in your relationship with God. Right, so he asked him to sacrifice his son. All right, so they took all the things that they needed for that, and he had to tell Isaac that God would bring a lamb. Okay. Do you think that God will allow Abraham to sacrifice his son? All right, so look at your workbook page. It's 27.3 if you don't already have it. Pause me and go get it, and I will go over that with you guys. All right, so number one says use the word bank to complete the meaning of sacrifice. Okay, so in your word bank, you have the words glory, special, and God. Okay, then it says a sacrifice is something very blank to me that I give to blank for his blank. Okay. A sacrifice is something very special to me that I give to God for his glory. All right, so fill those words in. Number two, match each picture to the correct sentence. Okay, so down one side you've got pictures, down the other side you've got the sentences. All right, so the first picture, which of those sentences? I'll read you all the sentences first. Hold on. All right, so I'm going to just go from the top down. Abraham built an altar for the sacrifice. They took the wood, knife, and fire for the sacrifice. Abraham and Isaac went to the place where God told them to worship. Isaac and Abraham, Isaac asked Abraham about the lamb for the sacrifice. And the last one says God told Abraham to sacrifice Isaac. Okay, so what's that first picture look like? God asking Abraham to sacrifice Isaac. So draw a line from the first picture all the way down to the last sentence. What does that next picture look like? Okay, it's Abraham and Isaac went to the place where God told them to worship. So they're going up to the mount, to the altar. Okay, so draw a line. That is the third sentence. So it would be the second picture to the third sentence. All right, the third picture. Now look at that. Okay, that is where they took the wood, knife, and fire for the sacrifice. So you're going to draw a line from the third picture to the second sentence. All right, look at that fourth picture. What does that look like? That is where Isaac asked Abraham about the lamb for the sacrifice. Okay, so draw a line from the fourth picture to the fourth sentence. All right, and have a look at that last picture. That is where Abraham built an altar for the sacrifice. All right, so from the last picture all the way up to the top one. All right, number 3 says match the terms. So this is like definitions, okay? So you have covenant and God's promise to Abraham. And on the other side, you have a new land and many descendants, an agreement or promise between two people. Okay, so a covenant is an agreement or promise between two people. And God's promise to Abraham, a new land and many descendants. So you should have crisscrossed your answers down there, number 3. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I will see you guys for lesson 27.